Internet. It's me again. What am I doing with this channel? That's a question I was wondering recently. Channel, YouTube. YouTube is so weird. There is something about this is what I'm not doing. I'm not trying to monetize this. I don't know. Like my goal I've never been like, oh, I want to monetize YouTube and be a YouTuber. But whatever. But something about just like posting videos on YouTube makes me like feel like that's what I'm trying to do or something, like seeing the view counts, like, well, I had that one video that got a bunch of views, therefore I must want to make other videos that get views. But it's like, why? That's not true at all. That's not my goal. I have so many other projects, right? Like that, and I'm already not interested in monetizing them. But like, if I was going to try and monetize anything, it would probably be Poppy Seed Pets, which I already make. Steam games, right? Those are literally for sale, right? That if I was going to try and monetize anything, it would be that and get more into promotion and all that. But I'm not even doing that. So why would the thought of making videos for YouTube in some sort of like professional capacity with editing and things, right? Why would I stress myself out in that way? But I guess the question is then, why post a YouTube video at all? That's a really good question. I guess for me, it's more like a journal. Well, what is that? That's like vlogs. That's what we used to call things of this nature back when people blogged or whatever. So I guess that's what I'll do. I'm just going to ramble about some shit, if that's interesting. If you are one of the few people who follow my creations and are just interested to hear me talk for some reason, fine. And if you're not, that's cool too. Again, I could be equally just writing this down on a little... I mean, I wouldn't write with my hands because I use a computer, although maybe I should. Yeah, I'm just going to treat it like that, like the sort of thing that journal. Of course, I can't, like, what would I talk about? Ooh, that's fun. Like, what would I not talk about? Right? Like, other people are going to see this, so there's going to be some amount of self-censorship, which is interesting to think about. So it's not quite the same as, like, privately journaling, which isn't something I've done since I was in, like, high school anyway. People say I look very young. It's been a long time since I was in high school, I promise you. So yeah, it's been a long time since I did that. So here, I'll just ramble about what's been on my mind. So I am moving. The house, I'm going to lift this. I'm sorry if this shakes a bunch. My bedroom is looking increasingly empty. The house in general, was my girlfriend for a time, then just roommates. And then, at a point she was like, I want to move back to my family. Do you want to come with me to like Boston where she's going, where I don't know anyone? And I was like, no, not really. I mean, would you want to move to Washington where I have my family? And she's like, yeah, not really, right? So it's like, okay, we both just want to move back to our families. So she's already moved out, and yeah, there's very little remaining here. So in just a few short days, I'm going to be on an airplane at some horrible time in the morning with my cat, who you never know, she'll make an appearance. She went deaf many years ago. She's getting old. But she used to hear me, like when I would talk, she would used to be like, oh, he's talking, I need to come check that out, right? So in the past, it's possible that if I did a video, she would come by and you would get to see her. But now, who knows? She's probably downstairs napping and wouldn't know if I came within like 2 inches of her. It's, I don't know, I want to say funny. She's deaf. That's unfortunate, but she's doing great. I think I mentioned, I don't remember where, she did have a health thing, but she's doing good now. She's going to come with me to Washington. I was concerned that either I just wouldn't have her anymore at all, she might die, or if not that, I might have to give her to a friend. Maybe she would be too unwell to travel, but that's not the case. She's coming with me to Washington, so that's wonderful. I'll have my cat. Other things I might ramble about, so let me do it now. Programming. I do a lot of programming. That's my job. It's what I do for fun. Again, games on Steam, Poppy Seed Pets. I had a video series for a while about how to make a pet game, and that was really fun to do. Something I would still be interested in doing is recording videos that are educational in nature about programming. It's like that is the thing that ever since I was like 11 or 12 I learned to do. I've been programming ever since then. I've been programming for like 30 years now. I know how to do it to a degree. There's infinite things to learn, right? There's plenty of things I don't know anything about. I've made very few like desktop applications. That's a whole world. It's also a world that's kind of less important. Fewer people are making like desktop apps, right? Like Word, right? How many people are making Office, like desktop software? It's very few people. But that's a space I don't know much about. Mobile, haven't done much mobile, but I know a lot of C#. I know a lot of PHP and a lot about web development, and I've done a little bit of game stuff, but the game engine I use is not a popular option and one I would really recommend. I use Monogame. People who love Monogame love Monogame. I'm going to give my hot take. It's not good. If you want to make games, don't use Monogame. Learn Unity or Unreal or Godot or Godot or however you say it. I think even the creator is like, I don't care, say it how you want. So I'm going to say Godot because it looks so French to me somehow. But everything does. I took French in high school, and so more things than are French look French to my brain sometimes. So yeah, I think that would be interesting to make a video about. So I'm going to ramble a little bit about programming. Popsy Pets is in PHP. My current job is in PHP. If my boss happens to see this, hello. PHP is kind of bad. I'm sorry, I don't like it. It's a good, like, it has a special place in my heart. It always will. I've been doing PHP since like 2004 when I started SciPets. It was the best language at the time. It was the best language for the web for a long time. I think Microsoft happens to have been under, I think numerous things have, there's nothing, Microsoft is a huge company. They don't care about us, they care about making money. But I feel like it just so happens that the way they want to make money has benefited the language C#, which they make in such an incredible way to make it awesome. And that could change, right? Microsoft could change. So could any of these things. PHP's been doing better recently. They are adding a lot of cool features. But whatever the reason, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that could go sideways. Who knows? Microsoft is Microsoft. Who knows what they'll do next? But right now, whatever the reasons are, C# is an incredible language. It really is. It's strongly typed. I think if you want to learn how to program, do not start with, like, Python is really popular. And if you really just want to do AI, okay, then learn Python. But loosely typed languages just come with a whole class of issues that are not present in C#. I think a big thing for me programming, I'm going to ramble about programming a lot now, I'm sorry. I'll try to keep this video under like 10-15 minutes, but there are ways to program when you're writing software. One thing to think about that has been like just the longer I've programmed, it's always been important. It just always grows in importance to me. Is if you can write some software in a way where a bug is possible, and you could write that software with a little extra effort in a way where a kind of bug is not possible, then you should pick that is not possible way. And one of the great ways, if you know anything about programming, loosely typed, strongly typed. So what does that mean? I'll practice talking about some weird stuff. So in a computer, you've probably heard everything's just ones and zeros, right? That's true. Everything is literally ones and zeros. And even the letters, when you type, when you send an email to someone, that email can be broken down into ones and zeros. That is what it is. So how do you get text? Everyone has just agreed around the world. You've probably heard of Unicode. There was ASCII before that. You probably know ASCII art, maybe. Used to be a bigger thing, right? Draw rows with an @ sign and some dashes and whatever. Anyway, the world has agreed on these standards. Those are the names of standards, ASCII and Unicode. And people have just agreed this sequence of ones and zeros means the letter A. This sequence of ones and zeros means the letter B. And there's some abstraction in between. Before we agreed that some sequence of ones and zeros meant the letter A, we meant that we're going to translate these things to decimal. So that's base 10. Ones and zeros is base 2. So we agree on how we're going to convert base 2 to base 10, which we like to think about as humans. And then we say, okay, the number 65 is a capital A. The number 97 is a lowercase a. Why do I have that memorized? Because, again, I've been programming for too long. And you used to have to know those things. It's less important now to know those things. But it comes up. So this is where the concept of types comes in. Some programming languages say, hey, look, under the hood, everything here is just ones and zeros. So you need to tell me when you're going to deal with some data, you have to tell me how we're going to treat these ones and zeros. Are these ones and zeros to be thought of as sequences of letters? Are these ones and zeros integer values, whole numbers, negative to positive, or do they recommend some a floating point, they call it, because the decimal can move, a floating point number, a decimal number, something that has things after a decimal point, right? That's another type. Or you might say this is going to be a list, and it's going to be a list of one of these other things that we've talked about before, right? A list of strings, they call sequences of characters that are text, right? That you might think of as text. They're typically called strings in programming languages. So some languages make you be very explicit and say, this little piece of data that I'm going to start using in my program, it is a sequence of letters and that's all it is. If you try to give it a number, no, not allowed. This is a string, or vice versa, right? This is a number, or this is a date, this is whatever. And if you try to assign a different kind of thing to it, not allowed. That you can't do that. Other languages, more and more modern ones, I say modern, but it's been around for a long time by now, but other languages are more loosely typed. They let you just change that at any point, and don't make you say up front, what is this type of data? This is where you get into like a whole class of bugs that can occur when you are kind of loosey-goosey with what the data is. And that's probably intuitive, right? If you're very well-defined, that's great. If you're kind of, then you're going to have problems, and you will have problems. And the bigger your program gets, the more that just adds, right, room for bugs. So it's great to have a foundation of, when I tell you this is a whole number, an integer, you can't just randomly assign a date to that, and that just helps you avoid so many bugs, whole classes of bugs. And the typing systems, again, strongly typed, because we're saying what is the type of data. The typing systems get really complex. They have like concepts of generics, and there's interfaces and classes, and all of those things are incredible tools to help you write code where, again, you just say, look, there is a kind of bug that by definition is now impossible because I have used strong types. So again, going back to PHP, PHP is loosely typed. That's one big point against it for me. The other big point against it is that it is not a designed language. It literally was, someone was like, it stands for personal homepage. They've said it doesn't stand for that anymore, but that's what it was made for, just to quickly throw together a web page. And whoever invented it first was like, I'm just going to take my favorite functions from this language, from this language, from this language, mash them all together. And so as a programmer, when you want to do something, you've got to type out the name of these little functions to say, I want to search this array, this list to see if a name is in this list or something. Or I want to, I've got a list of a bunch of data, but I want here's my command to say I only want the unique items, get rid of any duplicates. So there's all these kinds of functions that come up a lot. And in PHP, because it's just this messy amalgam of things from other languages, there's no consistency to how those functions are named hardly. Like the order that you have to put things in is like different and random. It's not random. They took it from whatever was the source language they were borrowing these things from, but when you put them all together, there's like no matching. C#, Microsoft, and again, this is just Microsoft happens to have been forced into this position. They really want this language, C# to be easy to use, ergonomic, they say. Easy to use, and they have this concept that I love that's been in my brain ever since, and it's core to what they do, and now it's core to how I program. They call it pits of success. And the idea is, if you're stumbling around not knowing what you're doing and you fall into a pit, they want it to be a good pit, a pit that you actually wanted to fall into, something that's like it's easy to just accidentally stumble into doing the right thing. And so and you can see this in a lot of how they design language features and the frameworks, like for making websites. If something is hard to do, that's probably because it's the wrong thing. And if you think you're being clever and outsmarting the language, then you're probably doing something worse than if you had just done like what was the obvious, easy thing to do. And it's really clear. Again, I did PHP for so long. I avoided C# because it was, a big thing coming from Microsoft. Microsoft historically has been like, Windows only, never, fuck Linux, we don't want anything, we don't want that. Again, they've been pushed now to be open source, and now they don't care about their operating system at all. So that's why Windows has kind of gone to shit over the past few years. They don't care. Why is it full of ads now? They don't care. They're not monetizing their operating system. They want you to write C# and put it on the cloud, and if you want to host it on Linux, that's fine. They don't care. Just pay them to host it on whatever. They don't care. And so again, they want C# to be easy to use because they also build in, again, pits of success. They're also building pits of success. Like, oh, look how easy it is to use GitHub, which we bought. Look how easy it is to get your GitHub stuff, write it in C#, and then, put it on Azure, our cloud service. We can charge you money. So they're making that all really easy, which is good for them. They want the money. But good for everyone else, the language itself, even if you don't use it for web stuff, even if, use it for Unity. That's why language like Unity and Godot have adopted C#, is they are really good languages. Or C# is a really good language. And so it strikes a good balance too. So if you're like performance-wise, PHP sucks for performance. No matter what you do in PHP, like people argue about performance, and it just kind of makes me laugh at work when we worry about the performance. It's like, we're writing in PHP. There's no performance here. Let's not kid ourselves. Like, yes, you can do something really bad, but when you're arguing over like microseconds, it's stupid enough in like a C# and something compiled, but especially in PHP where everything is just so slow. And again, it's fast enough. Like for most of what you're doing, the language speed is not that's a whole other topic. But anyway, C# strikes a really good balance of being right, it's not the most performant language. If you wanted max performance, you would write in C or C++, or no one's going to write in assembly anymore, but right, you would write in C if you were like writing for hardware. You probably wouldn't choose C#, but C# is like such a good middle that's like if you wanted to write for hardware, you could do C# and it would be okay. And they've made it even better. They're kind of pushing, and they're pushing. I feel like in both directions. I feel like they've found the perfect middle of like, again, it's very ergonomic. It's easy to use. For like most things, it's performant enough for most things. They've like made it be like the better option for most scenarios. Never the best, right? Like, yes, if you wanted to write hardware stuff, you would pick something else. If you were going to do, I don't know, what would you want loosely typed for? I don't know. But again, I just feel like they've hit that middle sweet spot so well. And then if you really want to go hard on performance, you can. They've exposed those things. If you want to go back to like pointers and stuff, programming, it's like C# is like, we're going to make it hard because, again, pit of success. You shouldn't be dealing, if you're doing pointers and memory allocation shit, no, you're going to screw it up. So we've made that hard to do because we want the easy thing to do to be the right thing, the less buggy thing, the performance enough thing, and way more performant than PHP. So anyway, again, like, I don't know, it's such an interesting position because I grew up like hating Windows, like grew up on DOS, like fuck Microsoft, right? That was always my thing for a long time. And they are just a huge corporation doing their thing. Right? But again, I just feel like that they were kind of pressured in various ways and happen to be making money now in this way where like, again, they happen to want to make C# a really good language. And so that benefits everyone who wants to program now on Unity or anything else. And again, who knows? Things might change. Maybe cloud computing for some reason fails and they shift somewhere else and like, we don't care about C# anymore, right? And they stop doing updates, right? Like that could happen. Who knows what the future holds? They could totally just trash the language because it no longer serves their business needs. But for the past like decade or something, they've been all in on making it a super good language. So it's become my language of choice. I'm interested in learning Rust and Go. People say great things about those languages. And C#, I mean, it's old enough that it's showing, it's got some weird old stuff that they would love to get away from too, but Microsoft cares really hard about backwards compatibility. That's always been a thing for them. And there's pros and cons with that, right? Like, it's insane that I can run some old games like from the 90s on my computer today, right? You can't get that on a Mac. Mac says, no, we don't care. And that serves them well, right? They've got their M1, whatever, M2, I don't know what they're on now, but their processors are crazy fast and good because they say, we don't care about backwards compatibility. We're not building all that old shit into our modern processors. Why would we do that? Microsoft, why would they do that? It's because they want banks and weird old government institute, like all the things where people just, modernization isn't a priority. They can keep using Windows and it's always going to work for them. And so, backwards compatibility is such a big thing for Microsoft. And obviously that's working well for them. When it comes to a language, I kind of wish, and other people do too, it's like, we wish they could get rid of some of that old janky stuff in C#. And they're apparently thinking of ways to try and make the language able for people to make those kinds of choices. I don't know. There's apparently something from some other language that they're thinking of borrowing concepts from. So anyway, that was a lot of rambling about programming, but what else am I going to do with this channel? I don't know. I'm going to stop recording for now. Who knows when I'll record again. I'm going to move pretty soon, so we'll see. My life will be a little bananas, but I hope that was interesting. If that wasn't interesting, then stop watching. I'm just going to ramble about whatever. Maybe it won't be programming next time. Maybe I'll ramble about, games. I play a lot of games. Any games though to recommend real quick? Peglin, pretty good. Peglin is pretty good. I recently replayed Distance. It's a great game. It's like a horror driving game. It's so weird. I don't care about cars at all, but it's such a fun, like, going fast, and it's like weird and kind of creepy. I don't know. Distance is great. The mood is like 100% top tier mood, and the music is great. And I don't know. Actually, let me pull. Do I have Steam open? Nah, I don't have Steam open right now. Sorry. I'll ramble about games some other times. All right. Anyway, bye.